Chapter 2.5 The three fundamental truths that have to be admitted for there to be a true analysis of the human condition. As has been mentioned, what is going to be revealed in the remainder of this chapter is how human condition avoiding mechanistic biology, with E.O. Wilson at the helm, has fast been leading humanity to terminal alienation and extinction. The most effective way to begin this expose is to identify the three fundamental truths about human behaviour that have to be admitted for there to be a true analysis of our condition, but which mechanistic biology has been determinately avoiding because they have been unbearably condemning of our present, psychologically upset, competitive, aggressive and selfish, human condition-afflicted existence. We need to bring into the open what it is that has consistently been avoided by mechanistic biology in order to reveal the field's hidden agenda. So what are the three fundamental truths about our human condition that have been determinately denied by mechanistic biology? As explained in Chapter 1, when the fully accountable explanation of the human condition was outlined, the human condition emerged when our conscious mind challenged our instincts for the management of our lives, with the resulting psychologically upset, competitive, aggressive and selfish condition being greatly exacerbated by the fact that our moral instincts are oriented to living in a way that is the complete opposite of this state, namely, cooperatively, lovingly and selflessly. Note, the biological explanation of the great mystery as to how our distant ape ancestors came to live unconditionally, selflessly, cooperatively and peacefully, the instinctive memory of which is our moral conscience, is presented in chapters 5 and 6. Thus, the three fundamental elements involved in this explanation are that our conscious mind caused our upset state to emerge, that it is a psychological, psychotic and neurotic state of upset that we are living in, and that our species' original instinctive orientation was to living in a psychosis-free, peaceful and harmonious state of cooperation, love and selflessness. The problem, of course, has been that until this reconciling explanation of the human condition was found that defends our conscious mind's upsetting search for knowledge, relieves our psychosis and neurosis, and explains why we had to depart from an original cooperative, loving, selfless state of innocence, each of these three fundamental truths was unbearably condemning of our present competitive, aggressive and selfish upset, psychotic and neurotic conscious self, and therefore had to be denied. We couldn't face the truth until we could explain it. So these are the three truths that have been denied by human condition avoiding mechanistic science, and as sufferers of the human condition, it is most likely that they are truths that readers of this book will also have been living in denial of, and thus unlikely to have been accepting as being truths. It makes sense, therefore, that the reader will require evidence that these are, in fact, all truths before being presented with an expose on how mechanistic science has dismissed and denied them. But in the interim, the following paragraph serves as a helpful introduction to how mechanistic biology has gone about denying these truths. As was mentioned in Chapter 1.1, the main way mechanistic science managed to deny these three extremely condemning and confronting truths, that we, in the form of our conscious mind, caused our upset, corrupted condition, and that humans now suffer from a psychosis, and that our species' instinctive heritage is of having lived in an all-loving, cooperative, peaceful state, was to assert that our present behaviour is no different to that seen in the animal kingdom. It was argued that humans are competitive, aggressive and selfish because of our animal heritage, that we have savage animal instincts that make us fight and compete for food, shelter, territory and a mate, basically for the chance to reproduce our genes. Further, as will be described shortly in Chapter 2.9, we said that the task of our conscious mind is to try to control these supposed brutal, savage instincts within us. As will be pointed out, this was an absolutely brilliant excuse, because instead of our instincts being all-loving, and thus unbearably condemning of our present non-loving state, they were made out to be vicious and brutal. And instead of our conscious mind being the cause of our corruption, the insecurity of which made us repress our instinctive self or soul or psyche and become psychotic, it was made out to be the blameless, psychosis-free, mediating hero that had to manage those supposed vicious instincts within us. Of course, as was pointed out in Chapter 1.1, the whole animals are competitive and aggressive and that's why we are excuse cannot be the real cause of our divisive behaviour, because descriptions of our behaviour, such as egocentric, arrogant, inspired, depressed, deluded, pessimistic, optimistic, artificial, hateful, cynical, mean, immoral, guilt-ridden, evil, psychotic, neurotic, alienated, all recognise the involvement of our species' unique, fully conscious thinking mind, that there is a psychological dimension to our behaviour. We have suffered not from the genetic opportunism-based, non-psychological animal condition, but the conscious mind-based, psychologically troubled human condition. The other reason, which I didn't mention in Chapter 1.1, but can now include, for why the savage animal instincts in us excuse doesn't hold water, is because of the third fundamental truth about humans, which is that we have unconditionally selfless, cooperative, loving, moral instincts, the expression or voice of which within us we call our conscience. As Charles Darwin said in his 1871 book, The Descent of Man, the moral sense perhaps affords the best and highest distinction between man and the lower animals. The reason adolescents have become so depressed during resignation, and why they don't fall for and adopt the savage instincts excuse, although they gladly embrace it after resigning and deciding they have to live in denial of the human condition, is because their moral instinctive self or soul lets them know their behaviour should be cooperative and loving, not competitive and aggressive. The fundamental reason humans have had a sense of guilt is because we have a moral conscience. Yes, the truth is we do all know that the old animals are competitive and aggressive, and that's why we are, defence, doesn't explain our psychologically distressed, guilt-ridden human condition. In fact, as is going to be revealed, the savage instincts excuse and the conscious mind is the psychosis-free hero accounts of human behaviour have all just been terrible reverse of the truth lies, albeit hugely relieving ones for humans needing to seek relief from the human condition while it wasn't able to be truthfully explained. Now, to supply evidence for the reader or listener of the three truths that our conscious mind caused our upset, corrupted condition, that we suffer from a psychosis, and that our instinctive heritage is of having lived in an all-loving, cooperative, peaceful state.